Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Wanted to tell you about a few shows we have coming up here in the next few weeks. Starting with this Friday, the 21st, we've got Turtle Smash doing a live Band Emo Night experience. It's a really fun night, and opening for them will be My Gal Monday, which is the episode you're about to watch right here on Rooster Radio, coming down from Asheville to do a set of their own music. Then the very next night, Saturday the 22nd, we have a Songwriter Saturday. Our good friend Stephen Massey, our good friend Anna Holloway and her band Ginger Tea, and AJ Herrick's coming down, and it's going to be an acoustic night. It's going to be a great way to kick off the holiday week. It is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, so maybe you got family coming in, you're looking for something to do, come hang out for a low-key acoustic night with us here at the Rooster. And then moving forward, Friday after Thanksgiving, the 28th, we're hosting Gothstonia 2. It's a dance party with goth, industrial, dark wave music, synth. It's a DJ hosted event, so you come, hang out, dance, meet people, make friends. It'll be a great way to get away from your family on the busy holiday weekend. All right, and then the next night, we're kicking off Christmas season on Saturday the 29th with a Casanova Christmas. Our friend and host of Open Mic, Trace Casanova, has put together a musical theater production. R.P. Allen will be here as Elvis Presley, so there's going to be an Elvis set of Christmas music, and it'll be a great way to kick off the holidays right here at the Rooster. And then moving down the line, on Saturday, December the 13th, we're hosting Crack a Smile's Acoustic Christmas, another acoustic show with Mike Tramp from White Lion. Along with him is Prowess, Pageant, and our friend Mikey Black, all doing acoustic sets. And this is going to be hosted by SiriusXM's Tommy London. That's right. Tommy London's flying back into town right here in Gastonia to host this event. It's going to be a good time. And then the day after Christmas, December 26th, we're hosting Murder by Folk. It's basically a Salisbury invasion because we got a bunch of folk bands from Salisbury coming down, starting with Crow with No Mouth, the Carolina Down Boys, Outdoor Couch, and Daisy and the Dead Pines. So if folk is your thing, again, it's another opportunity to get away from your crazy family around the holidays right here at the Rooster. You can get more information from these shows and everything else we got coming up at theroostergastonia.com. Click the events tab. Peace and love. Yeah, it's fun. Like I said, we're big on tradition at our house, man. We try. The thing is like raising kids. Like trying to like instill some like sort of like foundation in their life, like some like comfort thing. And so like, you know, we were talking earlier about like meals at the dinner table together instead of just scattered across the house. And, you know, like these every year, the day after Thanksgiving, we go up into the mountains to cut our Christmas tree down together. Cool. You know, and we have these like little traditional things that we do with each other. And I don't know, for us, it's cool. Like it's something to look forward to around the holidays and stuff. And, I think as our kids grow, as my daughter gets older, she's gonna look back and really appreciate that kind of stuff.
Having kiddos change like the way you do everything. Josie will be 9 next week, and we ended up instilling so many traditions that even our parents didn't do. We're like, what if we did this and made it special because there's giant gaps in between holidays. Like we have to do special things. Yes, things to look forward to. Yeah, that's why the holidays go by so fast. Is there's nothing.
They do now. Now that we're older, they fly by. You know. Like they were saying, somebody was saying yesterday, like, you know, Halloween. Yeah, Halloween just came and went. I'm like, well, not for us. Like we were doing the pumpkin patch.
We went apple picking and all the things.
Unfortunately, I like to do that stuff, but this year has just been
hectic.
Very. That's a good way of putting it.
We tried to make up for last year because we were recovering from the hurricane.
Yeah.
All October. So we were completely robbed of our favorite holiday. It was crap.
Yeah. Didn't think about that. Yeah.
Worried about flushing our toilets for a month.
Right.
Right on. Well, let's introduce Rosie to the fold. Look right there and say hey. Rosie is the singer from My Gal Monday, who you can catch here at the Rooster this Friday, opening for Turtle Smash's live emo night experience. Sorry. Very excited to have you guys back. We were fortunate enough to have My Gal Monday on the show not too long ago, and you guys were so much fun. I was like, well, I want you guys to come back.
Yay!
So Rosie's here to represent the band. The rest of the band couldn't be here today. So, hey, fellas, hope you're enjoying the show.
You have a good show.
So talk a little bit about how My Gal Monday came together, and you guys are, I would say, a traditional punk with a little bit of pop. I wouldn't say you're punk pop. I would say you're punk with a little touch of pop.
Just a smidgen.
Yeah.
Get a little seasoning of pop in there. Well, we actually were all in different experiences that were put together because the musicians were good.
Yeah.
So when I first started the band, I wanted to make it to where it was just like people I genuinely enjoy talking to and getting along with, because I had so many different like crash and burn projects because we had a great product, but there was no like camaraderie. And anytime we have like even a shift in dynamic in this band, I always make sure I'm like, okay, we need somebody to sit in for this. You're like, are they chill? Are they cool? And we've gotten super lucky. So,
So it started out as a way to you were getting burned out with projects that didn't have like a good feeling about it. It's just funny because a couple of weeks ago we had Mafia on the show, and we spent a lot of time on that episode talking about the feeling of brotherhood and family and like the commitment to what you're doing and stuff.
For sure.
So what you're saying is you were kind of lacking that in your artistic experience. And
and it worked out so great doing it this way instead, because yes, they all are fantastic musicians, but we end up spending half of our time cutting up before we actually even practice. Like our last practice, we maybe played like 2 songs and ended up 2.5 hours just like catching up on our week and making sure that everybody's good. I think that's
strengthening the bonds.
Yeah, it's way more important to be able to enjoy, because like if you're going to go on the road, you want to not hate each other. I feel like that's important.
Well, once if you can like take ego out, you can have a much more full experience. Working with artists and stuff.
And it's super important, especially in a band setting, to be able to give and take. And there's been situations I've been in, especially where there's always pushback and no leniency. So they have an image in their mind what it's going to be, and that's all it's going to be. And that's just not conducive to like a healthy relationship with people. You got to be able to
if that's
give
how you're going to write music, then write it yourself. And
this is our product.
If you want to take that on the road, hire musicians.
Have hired guns for that.
Well, I started it out having a ton of songs that I wrote, but I'm more about the message that the song gives, even if it's like something silly. Like we have a song about a Disney Channel original movie, Don't Look Under the Bed. Like, well, this is what it's about. What do you hear when you hear this song? And it can become a completely different animal depending on who's working with you. But my favorite stuff has been when we've just been in a room writing together and it coming naturally, because it gets real silly, and the sillier the better, in my opinion.
So have you always been a punk rocker? Like, is that where your heart lies?
It's where my heart always lied, but it is not where I spent the majority of playing music. I was doing the like 3 to 4 hour cover song sets at restaurants for a really, really, really long time. And after like a while, you just like shut your brain off and think about your grocery list. You're like, why am I here? What am I doing? Not having any fun.
Right.
But
you're
no.
just on autopilot.
Well, there's a place for that. And some people, that's what they want. They want to make a little extra money on the weekend, not really the love of the art.
Yeah, it's a great way to make money. Like I was doing that in Florida 7 days a week, and we made bank, paid for my wedding, my honeymoon, all the things, but it's like almost no joy whatsoever. So, because nobody in those environments want to hear the songs you write, and I write really weird stuff. So you're like, well, just play me some more Janice. I'm like, okay.
So how has the experience been? Like, it's a big transition going from having that extra money on the weekends, it's a full revenue stream. And then when you start wanting to do your own thing, everybody knows. And if you don't know, you should know, when you're a creative and you want to do something that's your own,
you gotta love it.
Not lucrative.
Yeah, you gotta love what you do for sure. Yeah. But I mean, I know beginning bands, there's always sacrifices. But I'm willing to put in the time and take care of my boys. That's what we do. But I also run a business in Asheville, so that's usually where our money comes from.
Well, most of the bands we talk to, like, if you're having any measure of success, it's because you're self-funding and you're able to keep it going. Then you get the occasional packed out show, and then most nights you're playing for 20 to 50 people. But it's community, right? Like
for sure.
We talk about this all the time. It's more about being in a room with other people, not necessarily like-minded, but like people that appreciate and love the same thing.
Yeah, the networking is the most important about, because we just started booking outside of the little Asheville bubble where everybody knows everybody and everybody's besties, and venturing out, you were one of the first venues that actually messaged us back, and we haven't played a show in Asheville in months. We've just been kind of satelliting, 4-hour window kind of.
Well,
satellite.
That's how you do it.
Yep.
That's if you want to grow your product and grow your brand, you have to get out of your hometown.
For sure.
I sat on your email for a while because lack of opportunity, really, just trying to find a show that would have made sense. Because I went and listened to the music on Bandcamp, and it's good. It's really good punk rock music, and clean. You can it's not messy. You guys are clearly professionals. And so when I found an opportunity, that's when I finally hit you back. And like I said, you guys really delivered. How are you finding other places outside of Asheville are receiving you?
It's been actually really, really fun. We played out in Gainesville last month, and then every single band that was there, it was all very different styles of music, but the green room was just like a party. Everybody everybody had the same vision, and they want to put on a great show and have a good time. We ended up all networking, and we're playing other shows in the future with them, and it's actually been a lot more fun now that we can, like I said, be friends with the band and not like okay, let's get there in silence and
like you said, like a brotherhood or a camaraderie instead of a job.
It becomes like a fun road trip instead of a job. Exactly.
Right. Now, Asheville's a pretty busy city, a lot of places to play. Were you, while you were kind of getting started in Asheville with this project, I'm curious, like how is the network? Because we've had a lot of Asheville bands come down. And everyone we've had, and we've yet to have someone come down from Asheville and suck or be a shitty or anything. Sorry. I'm supposed to keep it clean the first half of the show. But
you got to lure them in, that false sense of security before we start getting into the dirty stuff.
We syndicate 30 minutes of each episode.
Oh, funny.
But anyways, but no one's ever really said much to me about what it's like being an artist in Asheville. So I'm curious, are there a lot of places for punk rock, or do you find yourself on mixed genre bills? Like, what's it like up there?
It really depends on the night. There's only about 5 places that will actually take punk rock, because a lot of the Beer City, USA stuff, they want Americana at a brewery for 3 hours, which is stuff I used to do. But we get on a lot of mixed genres, but there is a ton of punk rock artists there. You just got to know who to talk to. We'll get on those bills where there's like 14 bands, and then a bunch of people start coming out of the woodwork. I'm like, you guys are where now? Right here? Nuh-uh. But I think it helps a lot that I run a business involved in music. My company's called The Guitar Witch Repairs. So almost all of my clients are musicians in town. So we're able to do mixed genres as well as like fine underground bands.
It's a cheat code right there.
Yeah, I know everybody.
So is it just guitar repair?
We do anything with strings except for pianos. So, basses, mandolins, ukuleles.
So if you're in Asheville and you need some work done on your gear,
Guitar Witch Repairs.
Yeah, say it. Tell them where to go.
We are actually by appointment only and it's pretty tucked away, so we aren't open to the public. So you have to email me, explain what you need, and then we'll set up a date, and I'll tell you where to go.
Awesome.
Pretty
Super
fantastic.
exclusive.
Yeah, if that's where you're at with it, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So if somebody needed to repair, how would they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram, or my email is theguitarwitchrepairs@gmail.com.
There you
and
go.
you can reach me through any of those avenues, and we can figure out what you need and how to get it to you.
So, I mean, it seems like you're music's a huge part of your life. You want to talk a little bit about where that comes from? Like, did it come from your parents? Was there an experience as a young lady? Like, talk a little bit about your history and like how you got so into, because I could tell when you guys played here, like at the conversation we had that night, it was clear to me as like she's in it. Like, this isn't just like you are living and breathing this.
I've always been a performer. My mother was a singer, and I started teaching myself guitar at 12 years old. I was supposed to learn piano, and I stunk at it. Complete, like, tragedy player. I still, to this day, can maybe play Heart and Soul's intro, and that's it. But I would sneak into my brother's room, and I would teach myself how to play his guitar, and I started writing these little, at the time, were little Christian songs, because my parents were very religious. So I was part of the choir and all the things. And then when I became an adult, I was like, all right, well, that's not particularly me. And then I started branching out and finding who I was as a person without like the church telling me who I was as a person.
Right.
And slowly formed more into the acoustic stuff, and the acoustic stuff turned into, I don't want to do this alone forever. And I made a band called the Smoky Mountain Sirens with a couple of just people I had met. And we were doing that for about 5 years. And then we parted ways about, what was it, like 3-4 years ago, something like that. And kind of just floated until I joined a Tony Hawk Pro Skater cover band.
Oh, nice.
We it was a bunch of really, really good musicians in Asheville, and we covered the songs that were on the video games.
Right.
And I dressed up as Darth Maul during all of those performances.
Nice.
And that was by far my favorite thing to do, was get all like completely unrecognizable and then just go scream guerrilla radio at people. It's just absolute silliness. But that's where I met John Kirby, who is the lead player in My Gal Monday. And when everybody got too busy in Faux Skater, he and I asked him to join this project. I had an idea, and he liked the music, and I already knew him for a while from that project. I'm like, I like you as a human. And my friend Chris, who was playing bass last time we were here, I've known him for 10 years, and we just never crossed paths musically, but he would always be the person I would hang out with at the Siren shows while the girls were off doing their thing. And I was like, do you want to be in my band? And the drummer was the only one that I like didn't know at all. It was like, this guy's pretty cool, and then got pulled in that way. So that's always been just part of my world, is songwriting and guitars. Repairing guitars was complete happenstance. I actually got my first job at a music store because my band in high school was performing a Battle of the Bands, and the music store that was running it gave me a job.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that's where we started repairing, was under that little banner.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. The like, you mentioned being brought up in church and like getting away from that. So I'm similar experience. As I became a teenager and like started to like learn how to think for myself, like that, I think that's the big thing. I think that's a lot of people who are raised in church and kind of go the opposite direction as adults.
Yeah.
It's more about the figuring out how to think for yourself and not being told
Exactly.
who to be, what to do, kind of stuff. And there's value in like a moral foundation, but it doesn't have to be intense. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine was, or my parents were very religious for the moral foundation aspect of it, but then it became just like, you can have that. That's great for you. I'm gonna be over here.
So, music kind of started me down that road too. Like, you know, it was, you know, when you're young, like one of the first, like, well, you know, one of the earliest protest songs was what "Unfortunate Son."
Yeah.
You know, people don't even realize that's actually a war protest song.
Yeah, it is.
And you know, for me, it was Rage Against the Machine. You know, I was 13 years old when that first album came out, and like I'm listening to stuff, and it was like this wild awakening. Like, whoa! First of all, you can do this. Like, second of all, what are you saying? Like, it kind of takes you down a rabbit hole, so to speak, of like, you know, knowledge. And but like being able to get that through music, a creative outlet, like I feel like that's a safer way, you know, to kind of fight the system, fight the power, is just find like creative outlets. And it sounds like you've done that masterfully as an adult. Like
We try real hard.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the show. Like, you know, you guys are going to be opening for this. Are you excited about the emo?
I'm so excited.
Turtle Smash?
Emo is actually my version of branching out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I got heavily into My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
when like just before Black Parade came out, and then I got to see them perform the Black Parade tour.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
like I actually emailed Turtle Smash. I'm like, hey, so we're planning on playing this My Chemical Romance song. Are you playing it? They're like, no, go for it. I'm like, yes.
Nice. Nice. Is that is that one of like your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Like is there like let's talk a little bit about experiences, right? We're talking about how music moves us and things like that. You know, do you have like bucket list bands? Is there a band that you've seen that changed your life? Talk a little bit about like the experience of, you know, consuming music.
I actually got to go to a lot of my bucket list bands when we were trying for my daughter. So
Okay.
My husband and I have been together for 18 years. So we were children when we met, and we just grew and planned all these things out. And when I was in my mid-20s, I'm like, we're going to have a baby. But first, there's a list of bands I need to see. So within like a 3-month period, we went and saw, was it Death Cab for Cutie, Modest Mouse, Billy Joel, like the weirdest array of bands. But it was like all stuff that influenced me in some way or another. And this past September, I actually went with my sister up to Boston, and we did like a whole New England fun, like any city we could think of. We hit Manhattan for a day, we did Philly for a day, Salem, and then we ended up in Boston for My Chemical Romance's tour, and we got to see them perform the Black Parade album from start to finish. But there's been a massive amount of music that's influenced even this band, especially because we're pulling from the boys and their experience as well. Like, we'll come in with a concept, but then they're like, do you remember the fill in this song? Can we do something like that? I'm like, sure, put it wherever you want. I don't care. Sounds awesome. But Joan Jett was one of the first non-Christian like performers that I got to see.
Oh, wow.
She performed at the Destin Seafood Festival when I was in high school, and that was one of those like, well, that's what I want to do. That's it. I got her signature guitar, was like my bucket list guitar, which is too pretty and I can't perform out with. It's it's like in a silly little shrine. Not that I worship her. It's like, we just don't touch that. It's too nice, and we are garbage people, and I will ruin it. But seeing her perform live definitely impacted where my life went for sure.
Inspiration.
Yeah, because I always, before singing in the church choir and all that, was not like, this is a career for me. That was just what you did. You sang at the church if you had a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would tour with a Spanish church, so I had to learn a bunch of Spanish music that, as like a 10-year-old kid, I have no idea what I'm saying, but we learned some Spanish and we evolved. But just being there and seeing her put on this show, and just as strong as could be, like, that woman could take a punch.
Yeah.
I was very just... From
And
that
she
day
came
on.
up in a time where, you know, that's just not something women do, you know, like, you know,
I mean, she's a woman of small stature anyway, and to have that presence where it's just like basically a brick house, a brick wall,
Yeah.
like whatever. It's just like, whoa.
yeah, you got her, you got Pat Benatar, you got Stevie Nicks.
Yep.
Before that, Janis Joplin. Like, very few women were doing it in that era.
Yeah, Lita Ford was thrown in that mix too.
Lita Ford. And then like, you look now and like, especially in like rock and roll,
There's a lot.
there's just as many female-led bands as there are male-led bands. And you said just a minute ago, you've been with your husband for 18 years. Talk a little bit about your experiences as a woman in the music scene. I'm sure you've got stories, but let's hear about that.
We got a lot of fun stories. So my last band was is all women, and every time we would perform anywhere, we would get the same phrase said to us, like, "You guys are really good for women, for girls,
for girls."
Like we're set down here on this pedestal, and like, oh, you're up with the men. Good job, ladies. But that was a whole section of my life of trying to prove myself. And I feel like a lot of women, especially in the music industry, have to get over and like battle that hurdle. And even in the job I have now, it took me a really long time to not have people come in and not ask for a man. Like, I worked at a place called the Guitar Mama, and it was just me and my friend Autumn. It was her shop. And people would come into the Guitar Mama and ask to speak to the man.
Basically, Guitar Daddy is what they want.
Yeah, Guitar Daddy. I'm like, you know where you're at? No, that's not what we're doing. But no, being able to get over that mental block, because you always feel like you're having to try harder and push harder and put on a better show. It's almost freeing that you just like, just do what you do, and if they don't like it, they can go somewhere else.
I think that energy has shifted now, or at least in my experience with this place. Well, I don't really, I think this this generation of young adults I don't think there's as much of that in music as there once was.
For me, turning 30 kind of just did that. I'm like, why am I trying? Like, I'm just gonna do it.
I can say from my perspective back there, of running the green room with the younger bands, there's not much of the, oh, you're a female, you don't know what you're talking about. Happens a little bit once they're a certain age and older. Then it's just like, then I feel like I got to flex a little bit, and I'm like, all right, cool. But at the same time, at the same experience, there's a different vibe in the green room when there are women in the band, even if it's just one, multiple. It's so much calmer. It's not a three-ring circus. And it's just like, oh, I know who the mama is in your band.
Yeah, I've never felt like I had to prove anything to the guys I'm playing with now. They're just genuinely good people. And that can be difficult to find in just the music industry in general.
I mean, I can only imagine like what kind of the things people would say. I love my mom, my wife. I got daughters. Like, I'm surrounded by females.
You are.
In every aspect of my life, and it's not something that really entertains my headspace. The whole sexism thing. I feel like humans are capable of so much, especially women. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I understand that that's how things were. I don't buy into that. So we don't really have that energy in this place.
I mean,
sometimes it does enter the doors. I mean,
it enters the door.
Yeah, it gets in here sometimes. It doesn't really. It always falls flat. It doesn't go like they think it's going to go.
No, you're like, oh, okay. Right.
Like, okay, sit down. But we do, I've written a ton of songs about different experiences. We have one called Welcome to the Past that is one of my favorites to play. It was written during the overturn of Roe v. Wade, and just talking about how every decision that is being made that impacts women directly is just dragging us further and further back in time, and how even though we've made it this far, there's still always going to be somebody who tries to keep you from getting further or tries to keep you in that tiny little box. And I think most women will have some sort of experience in that department.
Well, what you're saying now, what you're talking, you're getting into like the social realm of things, and that's actually true for more than just women. That's true for minorities, immigrants. That's just a fact of, and that's more about that. What you're talking about is more about strong versus weak, powerful versus, non-powerful. Like it's more of a social,
Yeah, going back to that, like, I used to introduce that song as "This is why I wrote it," but after performing it so many times, like, just the relevancy in everybody's life, it's exactly what you said. The powerful trying to suppress the weak anymore. Like, everybody has. Everybody's got some experience that has kept them from getting further in their life, and it's just getting more and more relevant every day.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to dive into like social commentary, but
For sure.
the reason I even bring it up is to shine a light on, like, when I get an opportunity to shine a light on a talented female, I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's one small way we can contribute to kind of fighting that nonsense.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot that tries to push back, and any way to help to show that women are just as capable as men at doing everything, then
Well, in my
we appreciate
experience,
that.
I have found that you get much better results when you're just like nice to people.
say
Like
just
like
be
when you don't have,
nice,
like,
yeah.
there's like this mentality, like it's the power thing. It all goes back to power. Like the fight that everyone's fighting right now is the wrong fight. Like you're attacking each other. You're attacking people that think a little bit different than you, but really that's on purpose. Like that's kind of structured and designed
Tactics.
Yeah, it's a way for powerful people to stay powerful, because if you're busy fighting over sexism or homophobia or whatever the ism or phobia is,
They're able to just
you're
do whatever
not
in
you're
the
not
background.
paying attention to who's keeping you from getting ahead.
Exactly.
And it's the oldest trick in the book.
And that's a lot of what our writing has to do with. We'll have very serious topics like that one, where if you have the platform, use it, kind of a thing. Like, if anybody's listening, then you're doing your job. And we'll have those very important topics in our music, but then we'll have our very goofy, silly stuff, like our last single that just came out, very silly. And the one before that was about the Ninja Turtles. So it just depends on how we're feeling that
I
day.
love a good silly song.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, there's some people want to write. Some people want to do art to say something, and that's great. Like, if you've got a political statement to make, you go right ahead and you make that statement. Some people just want to talk about life experiences and connect with people on a human level, and some people just want to party.
Yeah.
I want to rock and roll all night and party every
Party
day. You know what I'm
every
saying?
day.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a lane for all of that.
Yeah.
You know.
And I like the openness in the structure we have now, to where any topic is on the table. Like, we'll sit down and write together. We're like, okay, give me a prompt. And that's how the single that we released yesterday, actually, that's how that song was written. We sat down and we were like, okay, what are we doing today? And they're like, what do you think of when you hear the word fun dip? And I'm guessing he was just thinking the candy, but then it turned into someone who does a little bit of too much of the sugar and then unsuccessfully picks up people at bars. Fun dip.
Oh my
Very
goodness.
cool.
Got
cool.
very silly really fast.
I love it. What can people expect if they come early to see My Gal Monday this Friday? What can people expect to see?
You can definitely see us wearing ourselves completely out. Like, very high energy, very goofy, all around just a blast. Because these boys are insanely fun. And you can just tell, like, the looks on their faces. They're having a great time. But I love to dance with the crowd. I'm eventually going to get a wireless, because I'm just tethered. You saw, darn near killed myself last time I was here jumping off the stage. That was a blast. But you'll get to hear a lot of our original songs. We're playing a few covers that are a little nostalgic for the emo kid in me.
Right on.
But a lot of our very emo-centered punk music.
Right on. And where can people find My Gal Monday if they want to check you out and listen to your music?
We are on all of the streaming things, so iHeartRadio and Spotify, YouTube. We have a Bandcamp, My Gal Monday Band. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all the things.
Right on. Right on. I really appreciate you doing this. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Come out and support us. And I make all the merch by hand, so come buy some of that, and then we will be able to eat food.
Yeah, buy merch so they can get gas money back to Asheville.
Gas money.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosie, for doing this. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Peace and love, y'all.